Today in Across the Fence, the gift of gardening. From beginner to pro, we'll show you a variety of ideas for the green thumb on your holiday list. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. With me to begin our program is UVM Extension horticulturalist Leonard Perry. Welcome and happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you.
Now, of course, poinsettias are one of the most popular plants this time of year, but there are also some other choices that we have.
There are, Judy. In fact, there's a little poinsettia just so you can get to see if you have limited space. But I brought a couple other more popular ones. Of course, there are lots of bulbs as well. You can get amaryllis and so forth. But this is a nice one. It's called a cyclamen. They come in larger versions too. The keys to the cyclamen, look for one that, like this, has a lot of flowers if you want it open fully, but a lot of buds coming too, and it'll go for weeks. Cool is what the cyclamen likes, and maybe 60s or down to 50s, and evenly moist. It doesn't like it too wet or too dry. So the cyclamen, they come in this colors like the various versions of reds and pinks and purples and whites. So a lot of variation there. And then this other one up front, Christmas, or there's this Thanksgiving cactus. They're basically about the same. They bloom this time of year. Again, many different colors, purples, reds, whites, and so forth. The name says cactus. That means it does like it on the dry side. Doesn't like to be too wet. Will take many different types of conditions. It's one you can keep and get repotted. Keep it somewhat pot bound, but it'll come back year after year and have it for many years.
Fantastic. Now, as you mentioned, poinsettias are the most popular, and I know you had a chance to visit Clausen's greenhouse to see how they're grown and have some tips on how to take care of them. So let's take a look at that.
Well, as you can see, I'm here at Clausen's greenhouses in Colchester, Vermont, in a sea of poinsettias before the holidays. Thought it would be good to see exactly how to take care of the poinsettia you may have gotten so it will last for a very long time. You'll have success with it. This poinsettia, the traditional red one, is actually, these colored parts are modified leaves. They're called bracts. These are actually the flowers, and it's important to know that because this is one of the keys to long life. If these are just starting to open, as you see here, this is a good sign. If they're already open, if they're not even there, that's a sign the poinsettia is going by. It's down the road a bit already. So that's important to keep track of. Also, it's important, you often get these with foil on the bottom. This can hold water if it doesn't have a hole in it, and that can rot the roots. Poinsettias don't like wet feet. So if you have foil, either take it off, or what I do is make a hole in the bottom and put a saucer underneath so the water can drain out, and that way you can see if there's water in it. It won't be sitting in the water. So the poinsettia is a plant, as most plants. They like light. If you have it on a table somewhere it doesn't get direct light, like we have at home, after the holidays, move it to near a window. It'll like that and last a lot longer. Also, of course, water. Watch that watering. If in doubt, don't water. Keep it a bit on the dry side. They'll come back, but again, they don't like wet feet. And give it a little fertilizer too. These will last for months. Sometimes I throw mine out by 4th of July. Figure Christmas is over by then. Tired of looking at this, but it will last for a long time. And one of the things to keep in mind too, that I often get questions about, even for my daughter this year, is the poinsettia poisonous to people or pets? And the answer is no. That's a myth. It's not poisonous to pets or people. Pets may sample a leaf, like our cats did this year, and with the milky sap in there, they'll find quickly that that doesn't taste very good and doesn't agree with their tummies, but these are not poisonous. So just to recap with the poinsettia, don't overwater, keep them away from drafts, away from windows, away from wood stoves. They don't like that either. And treat as a house plant with as much light as you can give it after the holidays and fertilizer. For University of Vermont Extension, I'm Leonard Perry.
Well, Leonard has a lot more gift ideas to show us, but if you're really serious about giving the gift of gardening, then you should consider the UVM Extension Master Gardener course. And to learn more about the course, we're joined by Master Gardener Program Coordinator Heather Carrington. Welcome.
Thank you, Judy.
So now, who is the Master Gardener Program for?
It's really for anyone with an interest in gardening, from the novice gardener to a seasoned professional. We've had students as young as 14 years old, all the way up to octogenarians.
You just have to be interested.
That's exactly right.
So how does the program work?
It's a 13-week course that we offer. It's taught primarily by UVM professors. Leonard is actually one of our professors. It's offered through Vermont Interactive Technologies at 13 sites across the state. So it goes from the first Tuesday in February until the last Tuesday in April, and it's an interactive technology, so students have the ability to ask questions of the professors and interact with them.
And so what kind of training is provided with this course?
We give people a really strong foundation in plant biology and soil science, and then we move on to more practical applications like cultivating fruit and vegetables, ornamental gardening, and sustainable landscaping.
And if someone's interested to get more information or to register for the course, what should they do?
They can go to our website at www.uvm.edu/mastergardener, or they can give us a call at 802-656-9562. We'd be happy to answer questions.
Well, it's a great idea for someone that you love or even just for yourself for Christmas.
It's a fantastic gift for a gardener.
Thanks a lot, Heather.
Thanks, Judy.
All right, well, let's get back to Leonard, who has a book he wants to talk about.
I do, Judy, but first I definitely want to thank Clausen's in Colchester, their greenhouses, for all these wonderful plants we have today, and Gardener Supply in the Intervale for all these wonderful gifts. And should mention too that some of these may only be in their retail stores and not in their catalog. So, but getting on to some of the gifts, of course, this is, I'm a little bit biased with this. This is a book that basically I wrote, the Fruit Gardener's Bible from Story Publishing. If you or someone you know likes to grow fruits or thinks about growing fruits or just want to learn more about how they're grown, a lot of great color photos in this book. A section start out with the small fruits and the tree fruits, and then gets into all the other general, culture, soils, and so forth. So just a real good reference, a lot packed in there.
Excellent. Well, now for some additional book ideas, we're joined by Sarah Kingsley Richards. Sarah is a researcher in the UVM Plant and Soil Science Department, and she's been helping Leonard with his gardening studies and trials for the past several years. It's great to see you again.
Welcome. Thank you.
So what are some of your favorite gifts?
Well, Leonard mentioned the Fruit Gardener's Bible. They also have a Vegetable Gardener's Bible and a Perennial Bible as well, and same format and just soup to nuts on those particular topics. They're great resources. Some other resources, book-wise, maybe not books, but kind of a handy stocking stuffer thing that somebody can put in their back pocket and take out to the garden. These nice guides of particular birds or butterflies. Just flip charts that you can...
And they're waterproof.
And they're waterproof, which is wonderful.
That's perfect. Let's talk a little bit about some tools.
Some tools. Well, as a gardener, you always want to have gloves.
Yes.
They come in all sorts of ranges. You've got these nitrile gloves, which are waterproof on the palm, but breathable. Really long gloves for if you're digging around in the bushes. Insulated gloves for, those intrepid gardeners that like to garden in the very cold weather.
And I love the bright colors because that means when you lose them, they're easier to find in the garden.
Exactly.
All right, Leonard, what have you got here?
Okay, to go along with that for protection, knees. I find my knees don't take the rocks as well as they used to. So even indoors, now this is great. This is a memory foam. It presses down. It's
that is nice.
You can just use it to sit on too. But I just love that. I have several of these we use in the garden. There are different types of kneeling pads, but those are just really great. And then while we're outside gardening on your kneeling pad, you want to know how much rain we had. There are several things. Of course, you can get an inexpensive rain gauge like this one, just a plastic one. Of course, you want to make sure you bring these in when the freezing weather starts, but something like that. Or you can get a little bit fancier with a rain gauge, such as one of these. This is a kind of bronze patina on brass here, and it's these are the inches, the big numbers, and then the small numbers are
easy to read.
Yeah, in the tenths of an inch. And then to go with that, you can get a matching thermometer that you can hang on the house. So again, knowing what the weather is just really important if you're a gardener, so just a few ideas there.
All right, well, this time of year we're thinking about doing things indoors. So of course we're going to need pots.
Pots indoors. And if you're getting somebody a mini poinsettia for Christmas, you might want to put it into something like one of these decorative pots. There's all sorts of clay pots, etc. for indoors. Little
That's pretty.
Bark pots, some antique terracotta classic sort of pots. And if you get something that's more decorative, look for something with a plastic insert that's going to keep the water from spoiling your decorative pot.
Or your furniture.
Or your furniture.
You want to make sure with those you just don't overwater, because then it'll sit in the water
just
too.
Sit in there too.
There's the pros and cons with that.
Indeed.
All right, now we've got some tools.
Some tools, more tools. Pruners, pruning shears. These are special herb shears. They'll strip leaves off. These are kind of fun. Very large. They lock. So you can't necessarily open, but they're fun because they swivel.
Oh, what a great idea.
So you can do a top of the hedge or the side of the hedge.
If you're right-handed or left-handed,
or
too.
right-handed or left-handed. They're pretty snazzy. Some Velcro plant ties are always handy. There's always something that needs tying up. You know, if you're in the garden, kind of on the tool theme, there's always
gotta clean up.
You got to clean up afterwards. Some hand care, some scrubs is always a nice gift.
And so you've also brought some other items for the gifts for birds, too.
Okay, yeah, we can't forget the birds. Now, of course, in the
know.
past we've talked about various types of feeders, and of course the birds like water, of course, need some water, and when it's frozen, an electric bird bath heater is always good too. But for feeding this year in housing, I brought several items. Now, of course, suet is a thing, and we have a fancier suet feeder. You get the blocks of suet at a lot of stores, and you can just,
Yeah, this
is
one has
a copper
copper
top,
top.
which
Pretty.
is really pretty, a little bit more decorative than the simple ones, but you can use those as well. Or you get the suet blocks and soften them, or get regular suet, and you could actually make one of these, get a piece of wood, and it has these holes that go through it, and you just stuff the suet in.
And that's good for woodpeckers because they can grab on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I've heard, that actually when these are side by side, they prefer this. So that's a pro. The con is if you have squirrels like we do, they tend to love that it gets that suet in the wood. They'll just chew that wood.
Their whole head right in there.
Yeah, so anyway, that could be a problem with that. But another bird item that I think is just, of course, bird houses for little birds. I thought this was just gorgeous. Painted ones, there's old-fashioned ones, but you want to watch with these the size of the hole, depending on what size of bird for nuthatches and chickadees, small ones. And another thing that's important with these, we'll turn it around to the back side, is a little trap door with little hinges, because you want to clean that out after the season, you know, so it's ready. So you want to try to find one that has that, but really decorative items there.
Okay, Sarah, what else have you got?
What else have we got? I forgot to mention some when we got to pots.
Oh, yeah, this is interesting.
Oh, this is an interesting one. These are these kind of fabric. It's this thick felt fabric grow bag, which is easy to store if you're giving it to somebody in the winter. But the water flows through it, holds soil, and you can plant all sorts of different
So if you have a
large
deck,
veg.
but you don't have a big garden, you can
Right.
just...
Or you don't have somewhere to store large pots over the winter. This is a great
Good idea.
item.
All right, some cooking items, too, we have.
Okay, yeah, we brought just a few items. There are just several different types of things. I thought this was pretty neat. It's a herb freezer. Basically, it's like ice cube trays, a little set with a top on it. And basically, what you do is pick your herbs in the season, and then you freeze them. And it says on the side what you can put in. Like on the side here, it says for basil, you can freeze it with broth, cilantro with butter, mint with water. So you just, you know, for instance, put one of those in there, put the herbs in, freeze it. You're ready to cook all winter.
Extends your fresh herbs.
Very simple way to keep it. And then, of course, we saw the hand brushes earlier. This is for your vegetables. It's always great when you get your vegetables, even now from the store. You want to give them a good scrub there. Then we have a couple of bottle stoppers. They come in many
I have one of these.
flowers.
I love it.
Yeah, I've heard I've got to get some of these, because usually the bottle stoppers are too tall, but these fit flat and go right in. There's a cherry blossom and a sunflower. There's a couple other items, just wood cutting boards, like made in Vermont here. This is a maple leaf. That's just a very nice thing.
Nice
And
hostess gift.
some of the places like Gardeners are really emphasizing things that help bees and the bee organizations. This and things made from bees products. This is called Bees Wrap. And it's basically a substitute for cling wrap, a natural version. You just put it on your jar or whatever, put it in the fridge, and it clings, and you can use it for up to a year. You can just wash it.
What a good idea.
And so it's a natural alternative to storing your produce in the fridge.
We've got about a minute left. What haven't we talked about?
Mistletoe. There's I mean, mistletoe is a Christmas thing, but mistletoe, the berries are poisonous.
So there's
There's
faux
felt,
mistletoe.
felt mistletoe and fake mistletoe, which if you want that festive look to your house and not the poisonous aspects, then those are wonderful options.
All right, too, we should also mention the ultimate gift would be a gift card or a gift certificate.
That's right. If you can't just decide and you have no clue what somebody has or what size gloves, give them a gift card to any one of these stores that has a lot of different items such as these for the gardener.
And lots of different things, stocking stuffers and even little objects for the garden, little stone objects, which are really, really great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for bringing all these in, and I've got a few ideas for my list, so I'll be working on that. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.